Today, we explore how Elena Rybakina has perfected her forehand into a dominant weapon through focused drills, precise timing, and consistent training. She has developed power, control, and efficiency, turning this stroke into one of the most dangerous shots in modern tennis. The catch and hit drill that Elena Rybakina is performing may look simple on the surface, but it is one of the most refined methods for building a world-class forehand. What stands out immediately is how this drill strips the stroke down to its essential elements: spacing, timing, balance, and coordination, then rebuilds them with precision. For a player like Rybakina, whose game relies heavily on clean ball striking and effortless power, this kind of repetition is what transforms a good forehand into a consistent weapon. Under pressure, by catching the ball with her non-dominant hand first, she creates a natural reference point for distance. This is critical because one of the most common errors, even at high levels, is misjudging spacing. If she gets too close, the swing becomes cramped and loses fluidity. If she is too far, she has to reach, which reduces control and compromises power. The act of catching forces her body to position itself correctly every single time, training her to instinctively find the ideal contact zone without hesitation. At the same time, this movement sharpens her visual discipline. Instead of glancing at the ball or rushing the swing, she must track it all the way into her hand. That level of focus builds elite hand-eye coordination and reinforces. When she transitions from catching to hitting, her eyes are already locked onto the contact point, allowing her to strike the ball cleanly and consistently. Over time, this translates into fewer mishits and a more reliable forehand during fast-paced rallies. Another key benefit of the drill is how it integrates the non-hitting arm into the stroke. Many players neglect this aspect, but Rybakina uses it to stabilize her upper body and guide her rotation. As she tracks the ball with her offhand, her shoulders stay aligned and controlled. This creates a strong foundation for her core to rotate efficiently, resulting in a smoother and more repeatable swing path. The balance she maintains through this process is what allows her to generate power without losing control. In this advanced version of the drill, she adds an early unit turn, which is where the technique becomes even more powerful. As soon as she recognizes the incoming ball, her shoulders begin to rotate. This early preparation is crucial because it gives her more time to execute the shot, especially against high-speed opponents. By combining the unit turn with the tracking motion of her non-dominant hand, she synchronizes her entire body into one fluid sequence. What makes this especially effective is how it connects timing with power generation. Because her racket is already set early, she doesn't need to rush the swing. Instead, she can accelerate smoothly through the ball, using her legs and core to drive the shot. This forehand drill, demonstrated by Elena, is one of the most effective methods for developing explosive racket head speed, particularly during the crucial racket lag phase. It targets the exact moment where power is generated, when the racket drops into the slot and is then accelerated forward with maximum speed and efficiency. What makes this drill so valuable is that it isolates and exaggerates that phase, forcing the body to learn how to produce speed in the correct sequence. At the center of this exercise is the concept of pulling the racket out of the slot rather than pushing it forward with the arm. Many players struggle here because they rely too much on their arm, which limits both power and consistency. In this drill, however, Rybakina is required to initiate the movement using her entire kinetic chain. You can clearly see how her upper body rotates as one unit driven by her legs and hips, rather than her arm acting independently. That coordinated rotation is what creates effortless acceleration through the ball. The coach plays a critical role by physically holding the tip of the racket. This small adjustment completely changes how the swing is initiated. Because the racket cannot move freely at first, Rybakina is forced to engage her core and hips more aggressively to start the motion. This builds what can be described as first move explosiveness. the ability to generate power from the ground up at the very beginning of the swing. It's a quality that is extremely difficult to develop through traditional hitting drills alone, because the ball often distracts from the mechanics. Another major benefit of the coach's involvement is feedback on the swing path. The forehand is not just about speed, it also requires the correct loop and trajectory. If the racket path becomes too flat, the shot loses spin and margin. If it becomes too steep, control and timing suffer. By holding the racket, the coach can instantly feel any deviation from the ideal path and make subtle corrections in real time. This creates a level of precision that is hard to achieve through verbal instruction alone. The drill also eliminates the possibility of an arm-dominated swing. Since the racket is being held, Rybakina cannot simply flick her arm to generate speed. Instead, she must rely on a proper sequence. Legs initiate the movement, hips rotate, the torso follows, and finally, the arm and racket are released. This sequencing is the foundation of high-level forehand technique. It ensures that power is distributed efficiently throughout the body, rather than being forced through a single joint. When Rybakina steps onto a vibration platform on one leg while hitting a forehand, she's adding an entirely different layer of challenge to an already complex movement. This isn't just about striking the ball anymore. It's about controlling her entire body under constant instability. The platform itself vibrates at very high frequencies, typically around 30 to 40 times per second, forcing her muscles to contract and relax. That rapid stimulation activates a far greater percentage of muscle fibers than a traditional drill, pushing her body closer to full engagement. What makes this especially effective is how the instability changes everything. On a normal court, balance is something elite players almost take for granted. But here, the ground is no longer reliable. Every vibration subtly shifts her center of gravity, and her body must continuously make micro adjustments just to stay upright. As she prepares and swings through the forehand, her brain and nervous system are working at a much higher intensity, constantly processing feedback and sending signals to maintain stability. This creates a powerful connection between her mind and body that directly translates to improved control during real match situations. The single leg stance adds another level of difficulty. By removing one point of contact with the ground, the drill forces her to rely heavily on her stabilizing muscles. These are not the large, visible muscles typically associated with power, but the deeper muscles in the core, hips, and ankles that are responsible for balance and joint stability. On a vibrating surface, these muscles are pushed to their limits, firing rapidly to keep her aligned as she rotates into the shot. Over time, this strengthens the exact areas that support her movement and protect her from injury. At the same time, she is still executing a full forehand motion. This is where the drill becomes truly high level. It's not just balance training in isolation, it's balance integrated with performance. She has to maintain her technique, timing, and swing path while her body is under constant disturbance. That combination builds a kind of resilience in her movement. When she returns to a normal court, everything feels more stable, more controlled, and more predictable. Another major benefit is the development of proprioception, which is the body's ability to sense its position and movement in space. On the vibration platform, that sense is constantly being challenged. Her body has to learn where it is moment by moment, adjusting to the unpredictable surface. As this ability improves, her footwork becomes sharper, her recovery steps more precise, and she becomes more grounded, even when she is moving at high speed or hitting under pressure. When Rybakina focuses on rotational training, targeting her core and shoulders, she's working on the true engine of her forehand. Power in tennis doesn't start from the arm, it comes from rotation. The forehand is essentially a chain reaction, beginning from the ground, transferring through the hips and core, and finally releasing through the shoulders and arm into the racket. If that rotational system is strong and well coordinated, the result is effortless speed and heavy ball striking. Her core plays a central role in this process. The muscles around the abdomen and lower back are responsible for linking the lower body to the upper body, when she loads into her stance and begins to rotate. The core acts like a transmission system, transferring energy from her legs into her torso. Rotational exercises strengthen this transfer, allowing her to generate more force without losing balance. This is why her forehand can look smooth, while still producing significant pace. She's not forcing the shot, she's channeling energy efficiently. The shoulders are just as critical, especially in the later stages of the swing. As her hips initiate the rotation, her shoulders follow, creating a separation that stores elastic energy in the torso. This separation is key to building. When her shoulders finally unwind, that stored energy is released rapidly, accelerating the racket through the contact zone. By training her shoulders with rotational movements, she improves both their strength and their ability to move explosively in sync with the rest of her body. Another important reason she focuses on this type of training is injury prevention. The forehand involves repeated By strengthening the muscles that control and stabilize these movements, she reduces the risk of strain or overuse injuries. A strong, well-conditioned core and shoulder system ensures that her body can handle the demands of powerful, repetitive strokes over long matches and intense training sessions. Rotational training also improves timing and coordination. It teaches her body when to fire each segment. If the shoulders rotate too early, she loses stored energy. If they rotate too late, she mistimes the shot. Through consistent training, her body learns the perfect sequencing. Hips first, then core, then shoulders, and finally the arm. This precise timing is what creates that sharp, explosive contact point that defines an elite forehand for Rybakina. This work translates directly into speed. The faster and more efficiently she can rotate, but importantly, it's controlled speed.
Join Top Tennis Player Weekly Workout Plan now. See exactly how they train from Monday to Sunday. Easy to follow guide plus their daily diet plan. Start today. Link below.